Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fed Up, your no BS nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Marie, certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist, working with clients since 2014. After swimming up diet culture's bullshit stream for so many years, I am fed the absolute up with how miserable it's making people feel when we are supposed to be getting healthier. This podcast is here to help you gain your sanity back so you can stop yo-yoing once and for all and finally learn how to trust yourself so you can enjoy food again without fear or shame while still getting to your health goals. My aim is to teach you how to detect the BS in not just the food and diet industries, but in all realms of life, because I know that, like me, we are all just a little fed up. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Why, hello, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to my very first podcast episode. And I am Kayla Marie. I'm so excited to share with you all of the beautiful information that I have in my brain from 10 years of working with clients, but also I am currently in a university program to get my degree in food and nutrition, and I will end up eventually, hopefully, going all the way to become a registered dietitian. So after 10 years of being a certified personal trainer, I am still, of course, pursuing, and I love fitness and being in the gym, lifting weights. It will always be my first love. However, adding this nutritional component into my services for my clients has been so crucial. It cannot be understated. Just to tell you a little bit more about me, I was raised in California. I began personal training in Orange County and was there for about 7 years before I moved to Montana. So I've been here for about 5 years now. And I actually was training in my own studio for about 2 years. And this past summer, I retired my in-person training business. So I am completely online virtual health coach. um, Hopefully what can get me to stand out a little bit is I have been working with clients for a decade. And after training hundreds and hundreds of people and having many, many, many conversations about nutrition, I just realized people were stuck in this yo-yo cycle. They were miserable and overwhelmed with all of the indecision, or miserable, overwhelmed, so that they were indecisive because so much different information out there of what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. People were desperate, and it was really challenging, I should say, as a fitness coach to be in the middle of working out and people are getting stronger and we're seeing, benefits and their form's improving, their strength is improving, but they haven't lost the 5 or 10 pounds or 30 pounds, whatever it may be. They haven't lost the weight yet. And I know that it has a lot to do with nutrition. Now, granted, what you would hear in a lot of gyms and with bodybuilders, with trainers, I worked with a lot of people, we get our information from maybe not so reliable sources. And people were having a lot of trouble actually making changes in their life. So even though we can know, oh, I need to get my nutrition under control, a lot of people kind of ate better than they let on. So I would ask, oh, well, what do we eat? And they're like, oh, well, I have a salad and I have yogurt and I have chicken. And I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? And then I realized, oh, you just described a good day. Okay, so tell me what you consider a bad day. But there's this huge disconnect between what nutrition advice people were getting and giving in gyms by coaches, on social media, by trainers, between friends, and being able to apply that information in a realistic, sustainable way that actually made sense. And when I say makes sense, I mean, one, makes sense for your lifestyle, but two, makes sense factually. There is so much, I won't even say misinformation, but disinformation out there, propaganda, marketing tactics, whatever it may be, that have disrupted the flow of factual information, especially nutrition and health information. So people are believing lies and attempting to adjust their lifestyle to get healthier, but it's based on mistruths. It's based on non-facts. It's based on nonsense. It's based on bullshit. And I'm fed up with it. So I'm hoping that with this podcast, we are going to be focusing on kind of two different categories here, of course. The first category is simply dispelling food myths and BS. Just let me info dump on you, okay? I'm just going to tell you I am a long-winded gal, and I try not to overwhelm my clients with all this information. So instead, let's put it into a podcast. Everything I wish I could say on top of my soapbox, here I am to say it. So we will be dispelling a lot of the food myths, BS, giving you a lot of just factual information, the history of different things in the food industry. And it's not a Netflix documentary, or as I've heard more accurately described, as a shockumentary. Honestly, some of the information might seem kind of boring, but also it might seem really surprising because it is going to go in complete opposition and be contradictory to what you've heard out in the mainstream. And I'm just warning you of that, okay? Please also challenge me on things, all right? I am planning to have some studies that I'm referencing. I'll make sure to link the PMID in the show notes and, actually be able to back my shit up. I'm not trying to, speak out me arse at all. So that's kind of the first component of what this podcast will be. The second component is this behavioral psychology of eating. So eating behavior and how we manage, our lives is kind of a different topic, or a different pin on the wheel, so to speak, as just the nutrition facts. So you can know that having more fiber is good for you. Fiber is in this type of foods, blah, blah, blah. But what does it actually take to make yourself eat more fiber? Some of us are very good at, oh, I should be eating more fiber. Okay. And then they just do it. Some of us have a lot harder of a time actually accomplishing the tasks that we set out to do and setting up habits in our lives to make sure that we're successful at doing those things. So the second aspect of all the information that I have in my brain that I have tried to info dump on clients before, like, oh, well, here's all the information you need to make better choices. And then realizing that client doesn't make those choices. And I'm like, well, why don't you do those things? Oh, because psychology is involved here. Behavioral psychology is involved here. It's not enough to just know the information. So what we'll talk about is not just, is sugar addictive or is it not? Because I can talk about that till I'm blue in the face. We can talk about the physiology and the anatomy of addiction and whether or not sugar qualifies. Or we can also address the fact that some people have a more psychological behavioral addiction to eating in order to cope with their stress or emotions, whatever it may be. Adding on to that, is sugar addictive? Example, is it addictive, or also are humans primed to want and crave glucose because that is our primed source of energy and fuel for our brain especially? And now we have figured out as a species a way to make food incredibly accessible for most of us and incredibly tasty. And it's usually not just sugar, by the way, it's sugar and fat. And we'll talk about that. So I'll have an entire episode on not just sugar. Is it addictive or is it, but maybe I'll even have multiple episodes on sugar because it is so nuanced and it is so demonized in our culture right now, and there's just so much misinformation about it, and there's so much fear around it. And so that fear around sugar is what makes it more addictive to a lot of people. So the more that you restrict it, the more you want to binge it. It's a whole ton of context. And that's what I'm hoping to apply here, is not just info dumping. Here you go. They're wrong. This is what's right. Not trying to do that to you, but also acknowledging, okay, how does this actually apply to your life? What does it actually mean? And how do we manage that, rather than just, okay, you know the information. Now what? So I am super looking forward to chatting with you every Tuesday morning. This will be released. If you are subscribed to my newsletter, you will get an early sneak peek on Mondays. And you can do that if you go to my website, www.kaylamariefitness.com. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can check out where to put in your info for that newsletter. You can also look at my one-to-one nutrition counseling services. I also have a group fitness program if you want to join my Lift Club. Enrollment opens soon, so definitely check that out. And I will give you a little sneak peek about what we're going to talk about next week. Is our first official, I'll call this like episode 0. That's going to be like episode 1. Let's dive in. We're going to be talking about chemicals. Which chemicals are safe to consume? What some of the long, crazy ingredients mean on the nutrition labels, and also how to spot logical fallacies in marketing ploys or in nutrition information when they try to say things very vaguely or very general, like, oh yeah, it has no chemicals in it. Well, we're going to talk about the fact that everything is chemicals. Chemicals are what make matter and existence possible. So we'll talk about how to determine and how to discern like what chemicals and, how they are consumed or how they are used has a different effect on our body, and how to know and how to be able to filter that BS. So I look forward to talking at you then. Thank you again for listening into my little introduction episode. I look forward to all of your comments and feedback as we get this show on the road. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.